What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Coach Magali. If this is your first video of mine, welcome. And on this channel, we cover all topics relating to fitness and nutrition, how to lose weight, how to build muscle, how to work out in a very simple and effective way to understand. So if you're into that type of content and you want to learn more, don't forget to subscribe down below. Please also like the video. It really helps my channel out and it lets me know that you guys enjoy content like this so that I can make more. And let's get into the topic of protein. We've all heard about protein. We all know that it's important in some way, but I'm going to cover exactly why you need it, what makes it so important, who needs to eat more protein, and how to incorporate all of this information so that you can actually apply it and use it and it doesn't become so overwhelming. First things first, why is protein so important? What does it do? What is the big deal? Well, protein makes up about 15% of our body weight. That's a big part of our body. That's a significant portion. So if you're human, you need protein just to survive, just to function, just to give your body and your cells the building blocks that it needs to build all kinds of things. You can go down the rabbit hole on Google. The role that proteins play in our bodies and in our health are insane, and they're really, really important. But aside from that, when it comes to building muscle for performance reasons, for aesthetic reasons, protein intake is one of the most important things that we need to discuss because that's what makes up muscle tissue. It's something that is talked about a lot, but it's for good reason because it really, really, really matters. So no matter what your goals are, if your goal is to lose weight, to build muscle, to get stronger, to become a better athlete, to run more, to run faster, whatever the goal is, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, having an adequate protein intake is really, really important. Female, male, doesn't matter. Everybody needs it. If you're like most people, when they just start learning about protein and trying to intake more of it, adding in the habit of eating more protein can feel overwhelming and can feel almost impossible at first because it is an extra step that we have to take. But I hope by the end of this video, you have a concrete idea on how to do it, what the steps are. So hopefully it doesn't seem so overwhelming. I'm going to specifically focus on two goals here, and you probably fit into one of these two categories. You're either somebody who wants to lose more body weight and more fat to about 15 pounds or more. So if you're in that category, we're going to call you the fat loss group. And if you're trying to just maintain and or build muscle and gain weight, then you're going to be in the muscle building group. So although you don't have to just stick to one of these, there's probably one goal that is more important or more of a priority for you. So choose that goal for these recommendations. We're going to start with the fat loss group. So again, as I mentioned, that is for people who want to lose 15 pounds or more. You are the group that needs protein the most. You need this. It is 1000% necessary. The reason for that is when we're losing weight, calorie deficit, we are burning off and using up more calories and we eat, creating a negative, the body's going to lose tissue everywhere. It's going to lose everything, including muscle and including body fat. When we have low protein intakes and or we don't resistance train, our bodies will let go of everything, muscle and fat. And losing fat is good, but losing lean mass, including muscle, is not a good thing. It makes maintaining that lower body weight much more difficult. You don't burn off as many calories at rest versus somebody who has more muscle. Losing muscle mass is going to impact a lot of health problems if it's done to the extreme. So losing muscle mass is never a good weight to lose. It doesn't matter what your goals are. You shouldn't aim to lose muscle mass as much as you can control it. And when it comes to preserving lean mass and muscle, two things are the most important here, is keeping your protein intake high and also resistance training. Resistance training gives the body a reason to keep muscle around, and then the protein is the fuel to build it in the process. So you need both of them. But again, if the protein is low and or we're not training, as we lose weight, a lot of that weight's gonna be muscle, and that's never a good thing. The range that I recommend to most of my clients and anybody who asks me how much protein they should eat if they're trying to lose weight and they want to lose 15 pounds or more, we want to keep the protein on the high side. So anywhere from 0.8 grams to 1.2 or more grams per pound of body weight. The higher on that range you are, the better. So if you're struggling really hard with protein, start at 0.8 and then slowly build your way up. I would say most people will probably benefit very greatly by staying around the 1 to 1.1 gram per pound of body weight. But again, 0.8 is still okay. Just don't let it go below that. So if somebody weighs 150 pounds, you want to range between 120 grams to 180 grams. Again, staying in the middle, right about 1 gram per pound is ideal. Again, as long as we don't dip below 0.8, then you should be okay. If you're somebody who wants to lose like 80 pounds, 90 pounds, or 100, or even more than that, obviously, like for example, if you weigh 280 pounds, consuming 280 grams of protein is really, really high, even 0.8 of that. So a good rule of thumb is if you're trying to lose like 50 pounds or more, where you're carrying a lot of excess body fat around, you want to just stick to your goal body weight as the reference point. Let's say you weigh 280 pounds and you want to weigh under 200, you can keep your protein intake at about 200 grams. The more body fat you carry around, the more excess fat you have when you're in the process of losing weight, because there's so much of it, your body's like, we can give this away freely before tapping into muscle. The leaner you are, the more strict you have to be on having that high protein. But somebody who has a lot of excess body fat, as long as they're consuming their goal body weight in grams of protein, they should be okay, because again, the body has all of this excess resource that it can easily give away, and it's not going to freak out on you. Keep that range in mind. The higher the better. Find something that's realistic for you. Work your way up, but do not eat below 0.8, because there goes your muscle, there goes your hard-earned work, there goes some health problems. Not good. So that's the fat loss group. Again, this is a group that really needs to reinforce this. It is the most important for this group because of the risk of losing muscle mass. When you're trying to maintain and or even gain weight, it's actually not as important to eat as much protein as you possibly can. You still need to eat enough, which is why I don't recommend you dip below the 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. But you can get away with 0.8 to 1.2, anywhere in that range. The higher, it's not necessarily better, because you already have an excess amount of food because you're not dieting, right? So you have the energy through your calories to supplement that training. You still want to train really hard, and again, you don't want to dip below 0.8, but the range is about the same, just not as important if you dip a little bit up or a little bit below that. So that's my recommendations for how much protein you should eat. This is pretty much the same for male and female because everybody's body weight is different. So go based on your body weight, or like I said, if you're looking to lose a lot of body fat, then just stick to your goal body weight as the reference point for how many grams of protein you should be eating. So now, how do we actually implement this information and make it easy to add in this amount of protein when, let's say for example, you need 120 and you're averaging like 70? Well, the first thing that I recommend to everybody, and I think anybody should have this in their pantry, is a good quality protein powder or protein shakes. I don't like bars, me personally, especially if your goal is to lose body weight, because it carries more calories and not as much protein. Protein powders and protein shakes are truly mostly protein, and that's what you're looking for when you're trying to supplement, because we want the protein content up. We don't struggle with carbs, we don't struggle with fats, we struggle with protein. So we want to have as much of that clean protein, I mean clean like it's just protein and not carbs and fats, as much as possible. So everybody should have a protein shake or a powder in their pantry. And my guidelines for choosing a protein powder, because honestly you guys, they're all the same for slight minor differences in composition or flavors or textures, whatever. Choose one that you like, that's within your budget, that you enjoy. As long as it has 20 grams of protein per serving, less than that is not worth your money. Has less than 200 calories per serving. If it has more than that, it has too many things in it that aren't protein. If you can tolerate it and you're not allergic to dairy or have a reaction to dairy, and or you're not vegan, having a whey-based protein is the ideal one because of how easily the body can absorb it and use it. That doesn't mean plant proteins are not effective. It's just, if I had to choose one, I would go with the whey. But if you're vegan and or you have a sensitivity to dairy or don't want to consume dairy, then you can have a plant-based protein but still follow the guidelines above. It's much harder to find plant-based proteins that do have 20 grams or more. Usually they're a little lower, so make sure that if you are going plant-based, you get at least 20 grams per serving. And these typically, because they are plant-based, do contain a lot more carbs, so they usually are more higher calories. And just choose one that fits, again, the guidelines that I mentioned above. If you're somebody who barely eats any protein, you might need a little bit of extra help with your supplements at first. So what that means is I would recommend 2 to 3 servings every single day. If you're having about 20 grams per serving, that automatically adds 60 grams of protein in addition to what you're already eating. So it's It's a great way to increase your protein content very quickly. Now keep in mind, some of you may experience some upset stomachs if you try to go too fast, so maybe start with 1 to 2, but if you're really struggling and you really want to prioritize protein, then 2 to 3 servings every single day is going to be good for you. If you're somebody who doesn't really struggle with that much protein intake, like you have meats, you have animal products, you eat relatively high protein diet, but you're just wanting to supplement and make sure you're getting enough, 1 to 2 servings is more than enough. And then of course, if you're eating protein, animal sources or not, and you're meeting the appropriate recommendations, you don't need a supplement. The supplement is that only. If you're not consuming enough protein and it's hard for you to eat a ton of meat to meet that requirement, then I like to incorporate the supplement, but there's nothing special about it. You don't need it as long as you're consuming enough protein in your diet. If you have the supplement and you have that taken care of, the next thing you want to do is audit your meals and what you eat. So the best way to incorporate more protein into your diet is just to improve what you're already doing. If you have a salad every day for lunch, a chicken salad, let's say, and you have 1 serving of the chicken, why don't you add 2 servings? That would double the protein without you having to do much work. Finding ways to add double protein or add more meat to the plates that you're already eating is a very easy way to add more protein into your diet without having to make massive dietary changes, which is why I think people don't prioritize protein, because they believe that it's going to take a ton of work, it's an overwhelming task. But if you just improved what you were already doing, you add an extra serving of fish at dinner, you add extra meat to your Chipotle bowl, you add extra chicken on your salad for lunch, then that's a very easy way to double your protein like that. And then obviously if you're vegan or vegetarian, then you have to be a little bit more intentional with where you get your protein. It's a little bit harder. It's not impossible. I've had many clients be able to do this. It just requires supplements and it requires a lot of intentional meal planning to make sure that you're eating as much of that protein as you can from plant protein, such as lentils, legumes, beans, soy, tofu, Beyond Burgers, etc. But again, protein supplements are not necessary as long as you're eating it enough in your diet. But for most people, that's very difficult to do, and it's just easier and more convenient to have a protein supplement in your pantry. And again, using the recommendations above, it's good to have a good quality one so that it actually is worth taking. So if you're really struggling or you're getting very upset stomachs because it's a lot at once, then downsize it. If you want to aim to get 2 to 3 servings a day, but you can only really stomach 1 right now, cool. Start incorporating 1 scoop, and then once you get used to that, introduce another one, and then another one. And then once you're happy with the amount that you're taking, then just keep that habit up. Slow down if you need to, adjust if you need to, but do not go below 0.8. Do your best to get close to that number as fast as possible, especially if you're in a fat loss stage, because the longer you stay at a deficit without enough protein, and again, resistance training, the more muscle you risk losing, and then it's going to be that much more difficult to stay at a healthier body weight, but also build back that protein. And that's it. So it is a habit that you're going to have to take some time building. It is going to be a little bit hard at first, but like with anything, just keep trying, keep doing it, keep making it a priority. And before you know it, your body's going to respond well. You're going to get used to it, and it's going to be fine. Pick the protein powder or supplement that best works with your stomach, that best works with your lifestyle. Plant-based or not, they all work. Again, just make sure that it's a high quality protein by being under 200 calories, 20 grams per serving, and it's not insanely expensive because you're going to be using this product a lot. And it doesn't need to be a fancy one. They're all protein powders. It's all the same stuff. And then just focus on making improvements and adding more protein wherever you can in the meals that you are already eating. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope this gave you some guidelines and some clarity on what to follow, how to eat protein, what to do about it. And just remember, it's really, really, really important. We're not overstating this as trainers just to be annoying, even though I know we can be sometimes, but it really is important. See, once you eat enough protein and you're training really hard, your body will thank you. It will recover better. You will get better results. You're going to feel better. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. If you found this video helpful and you know somebody else in your life who is struggling with their protein intake and are struggling with how to increase it in a realistic and non-overwhelming way, then please do recommend this video to them if you think it'll help them as well. I would really appreciate it, you helping me share this message to more people. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.